Hello there, welcome to another Python tutorial. What I want to do this time is just a very brief tutorial demonstrating the Python idle interface. Many of you may have already used PyScripter and other interfaces for editing your Python files. Idle is actually the interface that comes built in with Python when you first install it. So I'm just going to spend a couple of minutes showing you how to use it and how it differs from the other interface like PyScripter. Okay, when you first launch Python idle, you'll be faced with a single window called the Python shell. And this has two main purposes. One is where you can try out some code directly. This is called an interpreter window. So I can type in mathematical expressions and they'll be evaluated immediately. Or I can type in commands. Now you can even define functions and do multi-step commands in this interface, but it's not really very good for that, particularly if you make an error while you're typing something in. So I could define a function in here. So here I'm going to define the squaring function, and I can use it to check that it works. But actually for editing any kind of multi-line code, this interface is really not very good. The main purpose of the Python shell is actually to show the output from programs as you're running them. So what we really need to do is to get an editor window open so we can edit a program. So we do that by going up to the File menu in Python shell or any other idle window and selecting New Window, or if you've already got a Python program saved, then Open. So I'm going to select New Window, and we get a new blank window ready for editing a Python program. I'll just resize this. So there I have a window suitable for editing Python code, and just like the editors in interfaces like PyScripter, it will color code your program code as you type it in. So let me type in the standard sort of template code that I always use, which is a main function which does nothing, followed by a conditional statement, an if statement, which runs the main function if you run this file. So here's an editor window. The first time that you go to run a program, which you do from the Run menu and selecting Run Module, or by hitting Function key F5, you'll be prompted to save your program. And this will also happen any time that you've edited the program and you go to run it. So I'm going to say OK. And I'm going to save this under a name. And don't forget to name your Python files with a .py at the end of the file name. This is especially important in idle because if you don't save it with the .py on, it won't do the color coding and it won't help you doing the formatting. It will assume that you're simply editing a plain text file as you would with a notepad. So once the program's saved, then it will run. Each time it runs, you'll get this line in the output window to tell you that the interpreter has been restarted. So now let's put some code in the main function just to demonstrate the program running here. So once again, you can hit Function key F5 or go to Run and Run Module to run the program. So this is quite different to PyScripter, where you have a play button to hit. Here you have to press F5 or select Run from menu, and the program runs and the output is shown in the output window. Now unlike PyScripter, you can put these windows wherever you like by default. In PyScripter the output window is usually along the bottom, although you can move it. But here you have a separate window for each Python file you're editing, and a single separate window again for the output of those files. In all other respects, Python idle does the same job as editors like PyScripter. PyScripter has some extra features, but Python idle is arguably simpler to use. Okay, so before I conclude, I'll just type in a function here so we can demonstrate usage of a function. I'm going to write the factorial function. So this is the function that you'll recognize from your mathematics. And here I'm going to use the factorial function to calculate the factorial of 5. So again, remember I hit F5 to run, or select run from the menu, and then we see our output of our program. Okay, thanks very much for watching, and enjoy Python.